today we got a review. It is Harry Turtledove's Non-Interference. So I'll read you the back and we'll get into the review. The best intentions. When the survey service first came to Biblius 4, it found a planet inhabited by humanoid aliens just on the verge of civilization. Then compassion overcame common sense, and David Ware did the one thing the service prohibited. He interfered just a little. But when the survey service returned 1,500 years later, it discovered that what David Ware's meddling had done. The bureaucrats of the survey service could not afford to allow such a breach of non-interference to be publicized, so they set out to cover it up. Reports were destroyed, files erased, and people eliminated. But one witness refused to be silenced. For the future of the survey service was at stake, and so was the future of Biblius 4. So, yeah, this book is pretty good. I'd say it was like a 4. It was a 4-star. We follow David Ware in the beginning, and we see how he interfered. Which then, after that, when we go 1,500 years in the future, we follow Magda and a compatriot of hers, Stavros. This book is outside of the normal vein of Harry Turtledove's work that he would be widely known for. This is one of his standalone science fiction books that we get. And the story is really good. I mean, the interference that happens on this planet does cascade, with a 1,500-year repercussions of advancing a little bit faster than like even humanity has in the past. And just the fact that it's about government agencies and how they really try to cover shit up when they know that they're in the wrong. And despite the the repercussions of that cover up and, the bodies that are buried and just, everything that goes into a government cover up is outlined in this novel. This having been published in 1985. So this is, post Watergate, post other government cover-ups that we've seen in our history. So Harry Turtledove really goes into, what it takes to cover up something of this magnitude and just how far bureaucracies and government agencies are willing to go to cover stuff up that makes them look bad. It's one of those novels where there wasn't like a super ton of action going on throughout, but there definitely was points where there was action-packed stakes as far as like Magda and Stavros running away from the government services that are trying to silence them permanently, and just a really good pacing, a really good flow. This is 213 pages, where every page it was doing something for the story. It wasn't like the modern novels that we're seeing now, where they're like 400 and 500 pages, where it's giving you a story with a lot of bloat. There was a good amount of character work in this and plot, and to do all of that in 213 pages is just an art that we don't see very much anymore in modern science fiction. And just like reading these older science fiction books, brings you back to a time where storytelling wasn't what it is nowadays, where it's not everything has to be like the soap opera kind of story that has all of these cast of characters and just it can be a really concise story and still work. And that's like one of my favorite parts of like going back and reading these older science fiction books, where they do what they do in like 200 pages or less. really kind of gives you an idea of how storytelling has changed over the years. And Non-Interference, even though it wasn't a 5-star read, was definitely a good experience. I had fun with it. I generally like Harry Turtledove's prose as it is. He's not, like a purpley prose master, but I mean his line by line writing is fantastic. Um, his character work, even in this novel that is only 213 pages, versus some of his alternate history stuff, which does get a little lengthy because it's dealing with something of a much larger scope. Um, Even with that being said, like the amount of time that he puts into the characters in a 213 page book is just phenomenal, and he really does bring out the characterization of every character that you meet. Every character that we meet in this story has a quirk, has a unique personality. It's not like cookie cutter characters here. It's real characterization going on in a small package. And with that being said, some of the big wigs, the villains that we get in this book, whether it be Horvanis or Paulina Koch, 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 cock, whatever, one of those things. Um, and like even they're vividly depicted in the novel, even though they're secondary kind of characters in this book. And just a fantastic job on the characterization, the pacing, the plot. And if there had been a little bit more action, it probably would have been a 5-star read for me. But there was a very heavy amount of political machinations in this book. And with it being a more political type conspiracy book, I think it lost a little bit. If it was a little bit more action packed, it would have been better in my mind, but that's just personal taste. And I mean, a 4 out of 5 stars isn't horrible at all. In fact, that's pretty good as far as, where I know I'm ranking things. So, yeah, with that being said, I would check out Harry Turtledove's Non-Interference. It is available in this paperback by Del Rey, and it is also available on Kindle as far as it was when I checked it, when this video first comes out. I don't know about after that. I can't look into the damn future. But as of now, it is in print that you can find it used in the Del Rey edition and on Kindle right now. So with that being said, check out Harry Turtledove. He's a great author just in and of himself. He does do a little bit of science fiction, does do a little bit of alternate history, does do a little bit of history, alternate history mixed with sci-fi. So I mean, he's a good author to get into. So give him a look, check him out, because he's one of the top ones in alternate history for me at least. And until next time, read, because reading is fundamental.